Well, I think this report ought to be good news for this country, good news for everyone, Democrats and Republicans alike. The Mueller report found that no one in the Trump campaign, from the president on down, conspired with a foreign entity to win the election, despite the efforts of Russia to interfere. This ought to be good news for everyone. We ought to be celebrating this, yet we have some Democrats and some members of the media who are deeply disappointed in this outcome because they had pushed a certain narrative that turned out to be untrue.
Congresswoman Harman, if you were still in Congress, would you vote to initiate impeachment proceedings?
Well, here's what I would do. Let's remember Fred Malek, a mutual friend of ours who chaired the Wilson Center board and was a passionate Republican. What Fred always said was he only liked politicians who put the country first. Could we have a little conversation about that? What does the country need now that this report has come out? It's a nuanced report, and it's complicated. And on the obstruction charge, Mueller said Congress, or I guess the people in the next election, need to decide. I don't know what I would do if I were in Congress now. I would first wait for Mueller's testimony in Congress to hear why he wrote what he wrote and what it means. He didn't say, I saw your long event with Rudy Giuliani. Exoneration is not the standard, but surely the report does not exonerate anybody. And it is time for the country to come together around what the next step is.
Bob, when you read Volume 2 of the Mueller report, which is the part that centers on obstruction, and Mueller lays out 10 specific potential cases of obstruction, how disturbing do you find them?
Well, they're disturbing. I think there's a pattern of lying and corruption here that can't be dodged. But Jason's right. The big conclusion on collusion is a bad word. No coordination between the Trump campaign and the Russians. That is a big deal, and it's got to be faced. And there are elements in the report that are very disturbing. Basically, and I'm sure President Trump would not acknowledge this, it confirms what was reported in the New York Times, my newspaper, and the Wall Street Journal in a very significant way. The question bubbling here is this Watergate? Is this Nixon? And the big missing element in all of this is money. Nixon used campaign money for the Watergate operation, espionage and sabotage. He used campaign money to pay for the silence of the people involved in Watergate. Clear obstruction. In this case, you have no money paid by Trump or his associates. You know who paid for the Russian meddling in our election? Vladimir Putin.
I want to ask you one quick